guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my quite extensive middle grade March TBR. Okay, so you guys, this is a lot. You guys all know I love middle grade. Okay, start at the beginning. If you are new around these parts, Middle Grade March is a readathon that I host with my friends Krista and Katie from Books and Jams and Life Between Words. And we do this every March where we just try to encourage everyone to read middle grade books throughout the month of March. So whether you read one middle grade book or you do like I do and I read exclusively middle grade throughout the month of March, it's just a time to encourage the love of middle grade books. We have 5 prompts that you can fill if you want, or you can totally ignore them and just read whatever you want. And we also have group book. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is books that I have picked out for each of the prompts. I have 3 or 4 for each prompt. And then also I have a stack of books that I just want to read just because I want to read them. So like I said, it's a lot. I guess you could call this a possibility pile because I doubt all of these are actually going to get read. But I tried this year to really stick to books that I really, really want to read so that maybe I'll stick to the TBR. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, let's just get into it. So the first book on this TBR is, of course, our group read, which is Pony by R.J. Palacio. This is about a little boy whose dad basically gets taken in the middle of the night. It's just him and his dad. And then his dad gets taken in the middle of the night. And so he goes in search of his dad with his companion, who happens to be a ghost. And they find a pony along the way. And that's all I know about it. But I have seen that this has gotten rave reviews, and so we are very, very excited to read this with you guys. There will be a discussion on this the last Wednesday of March over on Krista's channel, so I will put that information down below. But yeah, so that is my one that will definitely be getting read. And then let's just get into this. I'm going to talk about them as they are stacked because I've already dumped these books all over my floor multiple times trying to take a thumbnail today, so we're just going to go for trying not to make it a mess. So I am going to start with Asian main character. So the prompt is to read a book with either an Asian main character or set in Asia. And so I am very excited because as we were going through like our recommendations, like what we thought we would recommend, Katie, Krista, and I all realized like I have a lot of books on my TBR that I want to read that fill this prompt, but I don't have a lot of books that I have already read. And so I'm very excited to get some of these read. One that I got as part of my Christmas book exchange that I did this year is Under the Broken Sky. This is by Mariko Nagai, and this is about I think she's 12. They're always 12. A 12-year-old girl who during World War II lives in Manchuria, which is right on the border of the Soviet Union, and her dad ends up being conscripted into the Japanese army, and so it's just her and her little sister, and she is desperate, and so she basically sells her little sister to a Russian couple, and then kind of goes from there. I believe it's told in verse. And she's trying to get her sister back and reunite her family. And I'm very, very interested in reading that one. All right, the next one I have is one that I know Krista has read. I don't think Katie has read this one. But this is a Newbery Honor book. It's The Night Diary by Veera Hiranandani. Ooh, I don't know if I said that right. But this has to do, it's set in 1947. India is newly freed from British rule and has been divided into 2 countries, Pakistan and India, and hundreds of thousands are killed crossing borders as tensions between Muslim and Hindus flare. And so when Papa, who is Hindu, decides it's too dangerous to stay in Pakistan, Nisha and her family become refugees. And so, yeah, but it is told in diary format, so I'm very excited for this one too. Okay. The next one, I actually mentioned this one in our recommendations video, which I will also link down below. We did that live on Krista's channel, and so you can watch the replay. But this is one that I had gotten a while ago, A Place to Belong by Cynthia Kadahata. And this follows, I bet she's 12. She is 12-year-old Hanako. It's at the end of World War II, and I think her parents were Japanese immigrants to America, and so after the war they are given the opportunity to go back to Japan, but Japan sees them as Americans and America sees them as Japanese, and they just feel like they don't belong anywhere. And that I think this will be a really, really interesting read. Ooh, apparently it has illustrations. What? Oh, come on. Now it's not gonna... I found one. Where did it go? Anyway, yeah, so there's illustrations in here. So that's kind of fun surprise. I didn't realize that. Books with illustrations are always better. So that is my next one. And then the last one that I have for this prompt is actually an ARC copy. This book comes out in April. And this is Christina Suntorvat's newest book, The Last Mapmaker. This was kindly sent to me by the publisher, Candlewick Press, for review. And this is the same author of A Wish in the Dark and All 13, which both won Newbery Awards last year. And so, yeah. Anyway, so she got like double the awards last year, and this is a fantasy. And it explores, let's see, she is an assistant to a celebrated map maker, and 12-year-old Sai basically jumps at the chance to join an expedition to chart the southern seas, but she isn't the only one with secrets aboard the ship. And so it's kind of a seafaring fantasy. But yeah, so that was my last one for an Asian main character or set in Asia. So next, let's do a book with 5 words in the title. So 5 or more words in the title. The first one that I have for this is one that I've had on a lot of different TBRs and never actually read yet. We'll see if we can change that up. And that is The Unsung Hero of Birdsong USA by Brenda Woods. This was a cover buy for me when I got it. I've never heard of anyone who has read this, but it sounded amazing. It is set in a southern town in USA on his 12th birthday. It is set after World War II, and it has to do with a white boy who basically has a run-in with a black man and finds out that he is a veteran of World War II, and kind of helps him get a job. And it's about the friendship that transpires between these two, and that just sounds like something that's right up my alley. The next one that I have on this list is Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred D. Taylor. This one I know it's set in the South, I believe, and has to do with like racism and prejudice that this black family is facing, and how they're teaching their children to stand up for what's right, but still stay safe. I know everybody loves this book, and I've never read it. So I figured that this would be a good one for that. This also fits another prompt that's coming up, so I'm just going to set it in that pile too. All right, and then the next one that I have on this list is Each Little Bird That Sings by Deborah Wiles. This is one that Krista from Books and Jams gave me for our Christmas book exchange, and this has to do with a little girl who grew up in a funeral home. I think her parents run a funeral home, but she is like faced with her own personal grief for the first time and learning how to deal with that. And so, yeah, that sounded really good. All right, and then the last one, this is like next to Pony, this is the book that I most want to read this month, and that is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This is a middle grade fantasy that everybody has raved about, and I have never read. It's about a 12-year-old. Who'd have thunk it? And she finds out, I think, that she's an elf or something along those lines, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I just know everybody has raved about this. The audiobook is an Audible exclusive, which I refuse to pay for. And so whenever I cannot find a book on audio, I am a huge audiobook listener. If anybody is new here, just so you know, I really love audiobooks. And if you can't find a book on audio and it's a thick one, chances are I'm not going to read it. So I've been wanting to read this for a long time. So I think this is going to be my like physical book that I read for the month. I will read more than just one, but this is going to be my like priority. So anyway, that is my last one. Oh wait, no, I have one more. For 5 words in the title, 5 or more words in the title. My next one is also an ARC from Candlewick. And this is The Patron Thief of Bread. I love this cover. Like, it is gargoyles, but then it's also this girl. Like, it just looks so cool. And this follows a group of sea urchins who call themselves the Crowns. This is about an 8-year-old, so we're deviating from the norm here. And she basically, the group of sea urchins decide that somebody needs to become the apprentice for the baker, so that they can get bread, like steal bread from them to feed the group. And Duck is kind of put into that position. But then she starts kind of getting to know it's Master Griselda of Bread and Coin. I don't know. But she starts getting to know him and realizing, like, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. But it's told in alternating perspectives between her and a gargoyle who, let's see, meanwhile, high above the streets of Audiern, an old ugly gargoyle grows weary of looking out over the city and waiting to fulfill his destiny, to watch and to protect. So it's told between those two different points of views. I don't know. It sounds really good. So anyway, I'm hoping to read that one too. And that one comes out in May. So yeah. All right. And then the next pile that I have is contemporaries. So our next prompt was to read a contemporary book. And so each little bird that sings would fit that. And then the other ones that I have here, the first of which is The Parker Inheritance. I don't know a whole lot about this. I know that this was a Maud Hart Lovelace nominee, which is a Minnesota Children's Book Award thing that they do. And I think this was a nominee last year. It is a Coretta Scott King honor. Yeah, and so it has to do with so Candace finds a letter in an old attic. She isn't sure she should read it. It's addressed to her grandmother who left town in shame. But the letter describes a young woman, an injustice that happened decades ago, a mystery enfolding its writer. And so with the help of Brandon, who must be a friend, I'm assuming, the quiet boy across the street, she begins to decipher these clues and figure out like this history about her grandmother. And so that sounded really good. Another one that's a Newbery honor that I have been wanting to read for a long time. Okay, so this has 3 different award stickers on it. You got the Coretta Scott King Award for New Talent, and then the Newbery Honor, and then the William C. Morris Debut Award finalist. This is Genesis Begins Again by Alicia D. Williams, and this has to do with a girl who is dealing with colorism, so she wishes her skin was lighter, I believe. And I've heard amazing things about this. This was really big last year, I believe, but I really, really want to read it, so it's on the list. Another one, I'm just realizing now that 3 of my 4 that I have picked for this prompt are all by people of color. So that's awesome. I am so excited to give these some reads. But my next one is Ghost by Jason Reynolds. And this has to do with a runner. Running is all that Ghost has ever really known, but never for a track team. So this has to do with sports. And I know this is the first in a series, and it's all about a track team, I believe. And so, yeah, it has to do with like why he runs all the time, what's going on. I like that it's short. And I love Jason Reynolds as an author, so I'm excited to check that one out. And then the last one on my list for contemporaries is The Penderwicks. I cannot believe I've never read this book. We started it as a read aloud as a family, and then we just never I was going to see if there was a bookmark in here. We never finished it. I think we like started it right before summer hit one year, and then summer hit and our schedule just goes to complete chaos when summer hits, and so we just never finished it, and I want to read it, so I'm going to. So that's my my books for contemporary. All right, and then so the next prompt is to read a book written before you were born. And so I have a number of these that also fit another prompt. I have a lot of crossover. So Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, I think fits this one. Yeah, that fits that prompt. And then I also have Mandy by Julie Edwards. So I'm just double checking these to make sure. Yep, this one fits too. This is one that was recommended by Katie at the recommendations that we did. My nickname growing up was Mandy, and so I owned it. It's by Julie Andrews Edwards, so like Sound of Music. And it's about an orphan, and it was written before I was born, and so I just added it. I really don't know what that one's about. I really want to read Heidi. My mom gave me her copy of Heidi. I have it up with my classics books. This is by Johanna Spyri, but my mom gave me her copy of Heidi that her grandma gave her when she was 8 years old. My mom gave me that for Christmas, and this is a book that I've been wanting to read and haven't read yet, and so I'm gonna make this happen. Another classic that I really want to read is Ballet Shoes by Noelle Streatfeild. I've never read anything by her, which is just like not okay. So I really, really want to read this. This is about 3 different orphans that I think they're trying to, their family needs money. They've been raised as sisters, their family needs money, and they decide to join the Academy of Dancing and Stage Training to earn their keep. So I don't know. And then I really, really want to read A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I read The Secret Garden last year for middle grade March and loved it. That would also fit this prompt. I loved it. And so I really, really want to read this one too. But this has to do with a orphan who basically is wealthy, but then since she's been orphaned, now she has to work as a servant, I think. I don't know, I might just be totally messing that up. So those are the ones that I have that were written before I was born, I think. I'm looking through my stacks. Yes. And then the next prompt is to read a book about an orphan. And so this would work, this would work, this would work, this would work. So I have a lot of crossover there. But I also have 2 more contemporary books. I think these would fit into the contemporary, maybe contemporary stacks as well. The first one is Pictures of Hollis Woods. This was a Newbery Honor book. This is by Patricia Riley Giff, and this has to do with an orphan girl who is in like a foster care scenario, and that's really the only thing I know about it, other than I know Chantel from Chantel Reads All Day loves this. Her daughter loves it, and I need to read it, apparently. And then the last one that I have for the orphan main character is Ruby Holler by Sharon Creech. My daughter has been asking me to read this for years. This has been on a number of TBRs also, and I've never gotten around to it. So this is about twins that are orphans who basically find this eccentric guys, older couple who invite them to like come stay in the holler with them, and their like lives all intertwined. I don't know. Anyway, I know my daughter really, really wants me to read that. So those are all the books for an orphan main character. Like I said, a lot of crossover there with Before I Was Born and Orphaned, but we're gonna get some classics read this year, guys. And then I have a whole stack of books. Well, I have 4 more books to share with you that I want to read just because I want to read them. They don't really fit any prompts. They don't really have to do with anything else other than I just want to read them. So the first of which is another arc, and that is Crest, Watercress by Gregory Maguire. This is illustrated by David Litchfield. This comes out in March. I don't remember the exact date. I need to find it. March 29th. But this will have full color illustrations in it, which in my copy, because it's an arc, they're black and white. But this is about a little bunny whose dad doesn't return from a honey gathering expedition, and so her mom moves her into this like oak tree apartment complex, and it's about all these animals living in this oak tree together, and it just sounds so delightful, and I really, really, really want to read it. And so that is definitely one I want to get done. Another one that I've just been wanting to read for a while and haven't yet is Turtle in Paradise by Jennifer L. Holm. It's set during the Great Depression, and that's really all I know. But I think it's about a girl who like moves from California to Florida to stay with relatives, and I've heard really good things about it. I know that I think there was a graphic novel either that just came out or is coming out based off of this. But Jennifer L. Holm is an author that I really want to read, and I've been wanting to read that one. All right, this next one, I cannot believe I have not read this, you guys. This is a book that I pre-ordered and I have not read yet, and that is Adam 2 by Alastair Chisholm. This is the same author that wrote Orion Lost, which I read last year. This is a UK release, but you can buy it on Amazon or Book Depository or whatever. But your library probably won't have it if you're in the US. But this is a sci-fi. Orion Lost was my favorite read of the month last year, and so I went and I pre-ordered this one immediately and then proceeded to not read it. So this is about Adam, who is locked in the basement of a lost building for over 200 years. He emerges into a world ruined by a civil war between humans and advanced intelligence. He's being hunted by both sides, and he discovers he holds the key to the war and the power to end it, but he has to decide whose side he's really on. It sounds so good. I want to read it so bad, and I just haven't. And then the last one that I have to share with you today is The Truth About Martians by Melissa Savage. This is another one that I got from my gift exchange this year. Sarah gave me this one. I have one on here from each of the girls. They gave me books for gift exchange. That's so fun. I didn't even try to do that. But this is another sci-fi about a kid who doesn't believe in Martians, but then they think that they see one. They investigate a crash and find Martians, and it sounds silly. It sounds fun. It has kind of small print. Might have to get the reading glasses out for this one, guys. But it just looks like so much fun. This one, I love sci-fi books, so middle grade sci-fi is for me. So those are all of my possibilities. This does not include all of the books that I put on hold at the library that I'm waiting to come in, which I will be doing a library haul probably next week. I will try to, as long as they all come in, as soon as I get them all, I will do a library haul and show you guys all the books that I got from the library. Some of them are for the prompts, some of them aren't, some of them are just, for fun. But I'm trying to make this year fun and not bog myself down with having to hit the prompts. I'm just trying to read what makes me happy, which is middle grade books. So it's not going to be too hard. I'm so excited. Guys, let me know what you're planning on reading for middle grade March. Also, I will leave link down below the links for our merch shop, so that's also exciting. You can get yourself your own middle grade March shirt or mug. We have bookmarks. So there's lots of fun stuff down there. And make sure you stay tuned throughout the month. I will be having lots of middle grade content going out this next month. And make sure you follow us on Instagram as well at middle grade March to find out all the fun stuff going on over there as well. And we're just so excited to have such a fun middle grade reading month. It's so fun. It's my favorite of the whole year. So anyway, if you've read any of these books, as always, let me know what you thought about them. Should I read them? Should I pass on them? Which one should I prioritize? Let me know that. And that's going to do it for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.